Now we move on to another amazing and even heavier album from Mercyful Fate. Stay away, white magician. It's Don't Break the Don't Break the Oath kind of came out in the year of the birth of thrash metal in '84, and the artwork is badass on this one. We have like some sort of metallic looking Satan popping his head out of the flames and pointing at you. The artwork for this is absolutely iconic, and it's the first thing I always think of when someone says Mercyful Fate. This is considered the fan favorite, and I pretty much like it about equally with Melissa. I don't know, it switches every other day. I kind of like overall some of the songs more on Melissa, and I think there's some more memorable stuff on there overall, because there's some songs in here that are good and all, and they're kind of forgettable. The production here is a lot less bassy like the first album, and this one is a lot more trebly and more buzzsaw sounding like maybe black metal would be. But it still sounds like a good clean production that sounds like thrash metal or something. Now, in my opinion, even though the songs aren't overall maybe as strong as Melissa, I think the greatest thing about this album is that some of the riffs in here are overall better. Like, it has more really well-written progressive structures and some incredible heavy riffs and some really great melodic guitar work. So the guitar work is easily the greatest thing about this whole album. What's weird though is even though this band was so taboo, they somehow were starting to gain some success after this album, and they were making some really good stuff, but even though they were becoming successful and going somewhere, Hank Sherman wanted them to go in a more commercial direction, which King Diamond left because of that. This isn't the last Mercyful Fate album, but it's the last for like almost 10 years. It would also be their last album to have their drummer Kim Ruz, though. I think it's dumb that they never got him to return after the split. The first song, Dangerous Meeting, is an absolute classic, and the very first song I heard from them, and it blew my mind. The build-up to this song is an absolute classic build-up. The riffs are very heavy and doomy in this song. The great singing on the verse is catchy, and you have some cool lead fills all over the place. And then the build-up to the chorus is really cool. It almost sounds like a chant. It's very melodic and kind of dark sounding. And of course you hit that chorus where King is yelling, "They're gonna get themselves killed." This song is about messing with Ouija boards and powers unknown. That's why it's called a dangerous meeting, and they're gonna get themselves killed. The guitar riffs and the amazing melodies and soloing in the middle section is also classic. It has a really good middle section. I think this overall is a better opening track than Evil. And then of course there's this great part at the end of the middle section where it starts slowing down and getting very plotting, and you hear some like almost church bells going off. I think that's perfect of the atmosphere. Another amazing, amazing song to open up another great album. Then we have Nightmare, which is a good song, but in some ways it's kind of less memorable to me. It's extremely progressive though. It has some really great grooving riffs, and the bass really works on each little fill area between the verses. They're kind of stop and does the intro riff over and over with this really cool bass riff. And King mostly just hits falsettos the entire song. It's a lot of screaming and great speedy galloping. The middle section comes in like before even the 2-minute mark, and it just goes on forever in a good way. There's crazy back and forth riffage all over the place, and the riffs are absolutely chaotic. There's a part in the middle where it kind of slows down and you hear King Diamond come back in hitting some incredibly shrill high notes. Then the guitars do this incredibly memorable, beautiful guitar melody that they play together, like a harmony. And I love the fast part at the end where it gets really chaotic and you hear King go like, ah, 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 ah. And I love the line at the end that King says where, "You're only living on borrowed time." Then we get to one of my favorite songs. Funnily Enough was actually one of my least favorite songs at first in this album. I just didn't get it. But then, man oh man, this song is not only groovy as hell and catchy, but it's fucking progressive and extremely heavy. It begins with that classic line of King saying, "Stay away, white magician!" And it kind of goes in this weird intro that I didn't like at first because the singing was weird and it was just kind of low quality stuff, but then it kicks into that fucking heavy riff. And King mostly kind of sings this kind of whiny voice that he does sometimes too, not really the high notes. but it works really well in the song. It works perfectly with the groove of the bass. Of course, some amazing guitar melodic shit going on, of course, and then the pretty progressive middle section that I've always really liked. But I absolutely love that chorus where he's like, "Desecration of souls!" And then he's kind of doing these weird whiny vocals, but at the end, he says the song title "Desecration of Souls," but then drags it out in this really great high note. And this is part in it where it kind of slows down. There's this really great guitar solo that's very kind of bluesy and some melodicness, but it's very, very, very thrashy in a way. Overall, amazing solo and incredible song. One of my absolute favorites from the band. Then we have probably the weakest song off the album, not including 2-1 Far Away. And my problem with it, even though it's really cool and up-tempo and begins with a crazy guitar solo at the beginning, is that it kind of sounds like later down the road cheesy King Diamond songs, like the solo stuff, where it hits to kind of, in my opinion, balance out the cheesiness with the heaviness and the great writing so that it works. But it just kind of seems like too much cheesy, and his vocals sound not that great here. But it gets a lot better. I do love his singing on the chorus. It's very melodic, and he hits just all these incredible high falsettos. And the middle section's really great too. It actually keeps getting heavier and heavier, and King returns. And the song just gets way better in the middle section, in my opinion. But the beginning of the song is just not my cup of tea. Then we have the absolute best song off the album. In my opinion, their greatest song ever. One of the best metal songs. We have The Oath, the title track, sort of. This one begins with a kind of drawn out intro that kind of goes on for a while, but I think it's perfect in building the atmosphere because it has some great organ stuff building it up. And then we hear this crazy laugh, and the song goes right into it. It explodes in your face. And not only does it just absolutely explode, but it explodes in one of the greatest, most catchy, melodic, and fucking thrashy, pure metal riffs I've ever heard. And it's probably one of the best riffs ever, too. It's that good. And of course, they go into the cool verse where it kind of goes to this really crazy, frantic, back and forth sort of riffing thing with like this almost groove but then speed sort of thing. And I love the way that King hits these great high notes along with the guitars hitting these high notes, and it keeps going back and forth between that and that awesome riff, which I kind of feel is like the chorus is that great riff. And then it starts going to the really crazy melodic and progressive middle section where you have some cool, crazy guitar solos that are like Slayerish, and all of a sudden it stops and you hear these great, awesome vocal melodies from King like, and then some amazing melodic guitar work along with organ work building up to the awesome rest of the middle section. It's really heavy. What's funny also is that actually King Diamond by himself wrote this song. You can kind of tell because there's some amazing organ work all over it. I can't even believe it that it was only him that wrote this amazing song. And of course it goes into the classic type of Mercyful Fate breakdown where it's very galloping and heavy and gloomy sounding. There's some great lyrics and incredible melodies from King Diamond in that middle part there. And then of course some more amazing chaotic guitar solos. And then it kind of goes to this really cool bass break where they go like da 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 da, and then you hear the bass do this incredible fill. They keep doing that over and over. And of course we get this amazing catchy guitar solo that's very melodic and very well written, probably written by Hank Sherman. And at the end of the middle section we kind of go to this almost like an ending sort of thing, building it to maybe an ending where you hear King deliver these really great melodic ending sort of beautiful vocals. At the end of that part he just hits these amazing screams and it stops and goes right back in that classic beginning riff of the song, you know, the classic chorus one. And then they kind of alter that and add more melodies to it, and they kind of keep repeating that part over and over. Amazing song, and like the epic off the album. Even though it's shorter than Satan's Fall, I think it's almost as progressive and crazy, and I do like it a little bit more. I think it's more well structured, like there's better riffs in there. And I think overall, not only is this their best song, but I think this is almost like Hallowed Be Thy Name from Iron Maiden. This is definitely a song you need to check out. Now we hit a very underrated song, one of my absolute favorites from them. It's weird, a lot of my favorites of theirs are really, really grooving song, and this one has a really great heavy groove, and the drums and bass play a very integral part of the song. I love the lyrics here too, and King sings his high notes so perfectly over top of it. And I love the chorus where it kind of sounds like later King Diamond, where he does these little changes back and forth with vocals, and he does like voice altering, where it sounds very distorted for some of the different voices he's trying to do. And the middle section and guitar solos are really, really great, especially the last one. It has this part in there that's really catchy, groovy, and memorable. And then, of course, they kind of repeat that chorus at the end, but I love the part at the end where it says, "Gypsy, you're inside of me." Probably my second or third favorite off the album. Then we have a weird song, "Welcome Princes of Hell," which is sort of a forgettable song, in my opinion, but it's still really, really good, though. It begins kind of weird and slow, though. That's kind of why I usually maybe skip it. But wait till it gets into it, because it has this really cool mid-tempo riff with some really great melodies over top of it, and it sounds very, very dark, too. And I love, like, the almost echoey vocals that he does in that verse. And then it gets really good later on in the song, where you hit these amazing, amazing vocal melodies that just are extremely catchy, and there's some really good riffs later on in the song. Kind of wait till the song picks up a little bit more, but unlike Night of the Unborn, this one has no parts that I don't like. I just think it gets really damn good later on. I love the chorus part where he's hitting his great high notes. He says, I see the light shining so bright. And of course, the middle section's very good. There's some really melodic guitar solos in there, some great riffs, and I love how the song progresses from like a slow bluesy song to a really melodic and dark song. Then we have a little weird song called 2-1 Far Away, which is like a little short type of song, and it's kind of cheesy. It's very melodic, guitar oriented. It's sort of classical too. And of course there's some amazing melodic guitar over top of some really great classically sounding acoustic guitar. However, I kind of feel this song is the intro to the next amazing song, one of their absolute classics. Come to the Sabbath. It sort of begins weird with like a dark chant from King saying, "Come, come to the Sabbath." It sounds really weird at first, and it kind of reminds me of like the voice of the guy from the Safety song or something. But then when it kicks in there, it has some really great heavy build-up riffs from like acoustic guitar too. But this song's very heavy and progressive. It keeps building up until we get to the real verse. It's very, very fast and speed metal oriented, and King's hitting these kind of weird notes that are a little against the grain or kind of weird, but they sound so heavy and fucking perfect with the music, how chaotic it is. There's some damn catchy riffs gluing stuff together in the song because most of the song is extremely progressive. And of course the guitar work in there and the lead guitar work is absolutely amazing until we get to that great keyboard part from King Diamond that is probably the best part of the whole song. Except for the next riff, where you get that really great grooving bluesy riff that kind of carries out towards the end part of the song. Another absolute classic from this album, another one of their best songs.